Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to be looking at not really a TNT cannon, but something that you can strap onto a TNT cannon, which is a sand compressor. So this is probably one of the best sand compressors you'll ever find, and if you're wondering what a sand compressor is, it's essentially what it is it gets a bunch of sand, like this one is an 80 sand compressor, and then it compresses it all into one space, so you can use it in your massive TNT cannon that fires. That could be an 80 sand stacker. So this is just the compressor part, and this is normally the most important and biggest part of the contraption, and time again I've seen people create huge bulky sand things, sand compressors, and it's just not very nice, and half the time they are lever based, and this one has a lot of things going for it. For the first thing, it is really compact for a sand compressor. It's 80 sand, so it's not just a mediocre 5 or 10 one. Those you can just generally stick on the side of your cannon anyway, like my Leon Archer cannon. And another great thing with this is it's button based instead of lever based, and you can use it over and over again, and if you have a button based cannon, then you can just strap it on and use the input on the side where the button is and put it straight on there. And also the pistons on the top act as a barrel, because there's actually a monostable circuit that retracts the pistons on the very top and re-extends them, so that way when the sand is actually fired it goes above, so that way it works as a barrel. And the reason this exists is we don't really want this thing to be that huge. So the one thing you may have noticed is not really from this angle, but where the actual pistons are from the glass, there's only one block. Generally you'd have two blocks because you'd push the sand to the middle of the cannon, but this one all works in one seamless line, and it's really works well for something like this. So anyway, let's actually take a look at this thing in action, and then we'll go into the redstone and finally the tutorial. So this bit here is going to be the middle of our cannon, where we actually have our main cannon, and this bit is off the side. This could be further left, so that way if you need more space you can have this here, and really you can have this as far as you like because it's going to shoot it in that direction anyway. So anyway, if we come over here and press the button, we see TNT over here gets dispensed and all the sand gets retracted, and then the pistons get pushed, and as you can see all it goes into this one little space. But what you could see that happened really quickly is before that went off, these pistons pushed it to break the cobwebs and then retracted very quickly, so that the second that they retract, or the millisecond that they retract, the tick actually, they get fired, and before that happens this closes it off, so as you can see it acts as a barrel. And the reason you want a barrel is so the sand doesn't shoot off, it hits the roof along here and then falls down into this cobweb, and another reason for this is that way it doesn't shoot along the side or anything. Of course you may want to extend this barrel, but honestly the TNT is not going to fire it out this direction anyway. Maybe at longer ranges, but when it's only 2, 5, 10 blocks away, it's not going to make any difference. So as you can see, this thing works extremely well, and also if you're wondering why I'm doing this instead of a different cannon, I am actually working on something like this, and I'll be working on a massive sand stacker slab buster cannon, something that's actually bigger than a Leon Archer and then probably a one shot in the future, but you got to get everything else done first, and I thought might as well get everything else as best as possible, and this is just one of those things. Also, this thing does work in 1.8 quite well because I am doing this in the latest version of 1.8. This also works extremely well in 1.7, so this is really great for all versions. It's just most cannons are built in 1.7, but if you need something that is in 1.8, here you go. So anyway, now that we've seen this in action, let's actually have a look at the redstone. So the first thing we have here is our input, but before we get to that, there are several different pieces to this cannon. The first, you've got your propulsion, which generally works the same as a TNT cannon, and instead of having a slab, we've got ladders to block it off, because these are 0.1 block wide, which is in total 9.9 block space, and TNT is 0.98 blocks wide, so there's no way the TNT is going to escape there. So that just stops it from cutting off, and all the TNT will land in this water block here, and that's the only reason that's there, because if you have a slab it actually cuts off the potential it has to push it further. So also it has an added benefit of you can go inside and out if you're building inside here. Anyway, the next thing we have here is two layers of pistons, and the bottom one is the one that breaks the cobwebs, and the top one is just the one that holds the sand. You actually need these two layers or else you can't get anything to work. You can hold the sand on top of cobwebs, but that doesn't work that great because generally that just makes all the sand fall into another piston, which still works the same way. So this works extremely well. So anyway, what we have here is our button. This is our input. Of course, you want to have a piece of redstone here when you're bringing it off from the rest of your cannon that's coming from God knows where. And what happens is we actually, up the top here, along here, we have got an inverted signal. If someone has built just a general hammer or any kind of propulsion system that's really tall, you've seen these before. They just allow us to activate these 4 dispensers, and that's why we don't have 2 on this side, because that would take up more space. And because of this, we have another inverted signal that goes up here, and because of this, we have to re-invert it again, so we've got 2 inverted signals that turn it off. So that way all this can be off and doesn't interfere with everything. The next thing that happens is after the button is pressed, all these dispensers will go off simultaneously, and then this will go what's called through a monostable circuit, which pretty much just takes off a 1 tick pulse, or how many ticks you want it to be. In this case it needs to be 1 tick, so that way we can push this cauldron up by 1 and it will only stay up, it won't retract it. And the reason we want this is because we want to take an output from it. And also, if you're wondering why I'm not using a redstone block or anything like that, it's because cauldrons with water in it have a variable redstone output. So what that means is it does not interfere with any other redstone. And also with redstone blocks, if you have it facing upwards, it then has a really weird glitch where it stays powered. So it's just bud powered. So you don't really need to know all this, but you just need to build it like this. This is a bit more complicated redstone, but this is absolutely needed. So what happens after that is you activate this and this will push it off, so there'll be no signal coming out of here. So this will in turn retract all these pistons and it will stay off because the cauldron's 1 block up, and then all the sand will fall into the cobwebs. So after that we have got this massive delay going along here, and then by the time it gets to this point it reactivates the piston, so this is extended, but it doesn't actually retract until the button turns off, and of course that means it needs to be a wooden button, and by this time it gives it enough time for this thing to re-extend just as it fires after all the sand has fell. But before that happens, we have another 16 ticks of delay, and we have yet another monostable circuit. Jeez, that's a mouthful. And the reason for this is because we cannot have a really long output, because these pistons have to retract. Of course you could have them over 1 block, but that would not make it as compact. So this just allows us to extend them and then retract them really quickly before the TNT actually fires, because if you have these extended when the sand fires, they are transparent, but they will actually lock up against things. That's why the sand doesn't actually push through the glass. So after all that happens, the TNT fires off and it will push all the sand that is now in midair floating, and it will just push them all the way over to here, and you can have this up here or down here, and you can have a piston or whatever part of your cannon is here, and you can just add it to that cannon. Also, this will make a hell of a lot more sense if you are more of a beginner at TNT cannons in a later episode when I do a full-fledged TNT cannon, or like a proper massive cannon. But those take forever, like I said. So anyway, now that you know all the backbone of this, let's actually get on with the tutorial. Now onto the tutorial. So the first thing you're going to need is a 6x10 area, but one thing to note is that this area here with the glass, no blocks are actually placed there, so these 2 blocks are a part of the input, and these are just 2 random blocks, so more realistically it's actually a 5x9 area. But that doesn't really matter unless you are really tight, compact on where you need to have this in a certain area, like let's say you're in a 1 chunk limit. But anyway, you're going to need some building blocks, some slabs. You're going to need 10 dispensers, 18 redstone, 13 redstone repeaters, 3 redstone torches, 12 pistons, a sticky piston, 4 ladders, a cauldron, 2 water source blocks, and some cobwebs and some sand. Also, you can have 10 pistons and 3 sticky pistons if you want to use sticky instead of the monostable circuit, but I just thought we'd just use normal pistons as they're cheaper, and we already have a ton of sand. So anyway, now on to the rest. So the first thing we're going to be doing is building the main barrel bit. So the first thing you want to do is make a 4 high dispenser tower here, another 4 high dispenser tower here, and then 2 blocks here with 2 more dispensers on top. Then you want to place 4 blocks here with your ladders on the side. Oh. And then you want to go ahead and come along to here and place down a temporary block there, and then place 5 pistons along in a row. You can extend this, but then you'll need probably more dispensers. 10 is actually overkill as it is, but it's just to make it work as well as it can. So after you've done that, you then want to fill in blocks here and fill in the under blocks here. After you've done that, you want to get rid of these 5 blocks here and place these slabs here. These are not really necessary, but it's really just here in case something screws up, and then all the sand will break and then you can just recollect it. So that way you do not accidentally blow up your machine or create a huge mess or something like that, or push your blocks outside for some reason. So now we're going to be building from the input. Also, I didn't include the button in the tutorial because you're likely going to be attaching this to a cannon instead. So anyway, you want to place a block here with an upside down button on the top, or place it on the side depending what version of Minecraft you're playing on. Then you want to place a redstone torch here with a block on top of it with another redstone torch on top and a redstone torch on the side here. Then you want to place another block on the top, followed by a block there and another block here. After that, you then want to place redstone on all the dispensers and all the available blocks. And while we're here, you want to place 5 blocks on top of these pistons with redstone along here, and these 5 back pistons with redstone along them too. So also, I accidentally forgot to include the comparator, so you're going to need one of them. But anyway, the next bit we're going to be building is the bit monostable circuit bit that attaches to the top bit here. So what you want to do is place a block here with a repeater set to 1 tick to lay there. Then you want to place a piston facing upwards with a piece of sand on top, or depending what you're doing, make your own monostable circuit. Then you want to place a repeater here with a block on top like so, and a sticky piston on the side here. Get your cauldron and fill it with water, and while we are here, you want to come down here and fill that with water. After that, you then want to place a block here with your comparator facing outwards like so. Then you want to right click here, place a block there, and place your redstone repeater in 1 tick like so. You want to make sure all these repeaters are on 1 tick, or else it will screw it up. One thing to note too is that this can actually stack 90 sand, but I just went 80 because that is a more common number to use, and it really doesn't matter that much. But it doesn't reach 100 unfortunately, but that's fine. Also, it doesn't matter if you have this on subtract mode or not. It does not affect this contraption at all. So now we're going to be building this bit that connects up to this piston. So you want to place some blocks here with a solid block on the top here, then place blocks until you find a block that connects up to the top here. So you want to place a block here, then continue going along but leave a block free here, and then you want to have 2 blocks here. So what you want to do is, this is where your monostable circuit will be, so that way you want to place a block there. So anyway, after this you then want to get your redstone repeaters and set them all to 4 ticks delay facing this way. Then you want to place a piece of redstone here with 2 more redstone repeaters set to 4 ticks delay. This is the one that will retract the piston, which will grab back this cauldron, which will re-extend all these pistons. Then you want to place 3 more redstone repeaters like so, and then under here you want to either place your sticky piston or a normal piston. Just because I don't want to get rid of the block, I'm just going to place a sticky piston. After that, you want to place another repeater set to 4 ticks delay here, and a block there with redstone. I know that you can place redstone here, but every resource that you save is just honestly good in general. So now you've built pretty much your whole thing. The only thing that you want to do now, which I would say for last, is create your side panel along here. I'd recommend that you create it out of glass or something, just so you can see the side, and which makes it look cooler actually. But whatever you want to do, that's fine. You just want to create a side panel like so. And after you've done this, you have then completed your sand compressor. So anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really hope it helps a lot of people. I'm sure it will, especially the more advanced cannoneers, however you want to say that. It's like aluminum and aluminium, doesn't really matter. But anyway, the schedule will be going back to normal on Wednesday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have a Factions episode out this Sunday because I'm currently working on the January update, and I just got back from my 2-week holiday. And if you're wondering why everything's up the wop, you should have watched my channel update video. You can also follow me at TNT Madness. I do most of my update stuff on there now, which I did while I was away, just for everyone to know what was happening. So anyway, goodbye from TNT Madness.